Well, hello there, Sabine with Silver International Realty, and I'm here with Lindsay Carr.
Hi, I'm with Movement Mortgage.
And we just finished a broker's open house in my amazing new listing in Cali Plantation, and a lot of the agents were wondering what's going on in this market. So Lindsay and I thought, let's have a discussion about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what did you hear from the agents today about anything, any thoughts that they had with the market and what's going on? Have they been seeing anything, as well as what are your thoughts?
I think that some of the agents were mentioning that they have noticed a little bit of a slowdown. I also have talked to an agent in Texas who's a referral partner, and she just sent me an email and said her market is slowing down a little bit. And so the question is what's going on, because we are 2 weeks before Memorial Weekend, and I think a lot of buyers right now are taking a little focus off relocating and getting the kids done to school. So it'll be very interesting to see what's happening after Memorial Day. But what do you see?
I'm definitely starting to see a little bit of a shift as well. There's definitely not as many applications coming through. But when I do, it's, somebody that's already found a house and they need to get pre-approved right away, but I'm not having as many people out there house shopping, or if they are, the inventory is still very low, so it's taking them a lot longer.
Well, we have a lot of cash buyer in this area.
That is very true.
And I think the stock market is also affecting it a little bit. Some people are a little hesitant. Should I pull out some money out of the stock right now where the stock is so low to buy this house, or should I hold off?
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people, just recently this week, people have told me they didn't want to buy because they were gonna have to take their money from the stocks, and they were, their terms exactly, embarrassed at how much they have lost recently. So I think that's probably a big effect on that too, because I know a lot of people keep their money in there.
Well, just like the stock market goes up and down, the real estate market goes up and down, but right now the market is so crazy. It has grown so fast. Prices of homes that were listed back in November have gone up almost 25%. I do see some price reductions, but I think there's a combination of maybe some sellers overpricing their home. The last email we got about 2 days ago was from an agent saying, seller motivated. I've never seen that email in, I don't know, probably 4 years. I was really surprised to see that.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot more contracts come over just recently too, where the sellers have been contributing to the closing costs, which that's been a big thing in the past, 6 months or so, where, people are paying over the asking price. They're not asking for any seller concessions, nothing. And that's the way it's been. So I think there is a little switch going on where houses are sitting a little bit longer, sellers are getting scared, so they're just trying to take anything that they can get to make sure that they get their house sold, which is still, they're making a lot more money than they would have 6 months ago because of all the prices going up.
I definitely see the hesitation. I think people are not willing to jump into a new listing and go into a multiple offer scenario. They'd rather wait and see. And the other thing that's really interesting to me, and you can probably explain this better, but last year you and I closed several deals where the buyer was paying literally 3% interest rates. And now the beginning of last month, I know you quoted 5.25, and now we're looking at 5.5. Investors almost going on to 6. Isn't that like the fastest growing interest rate? I've not seen it ever grow this fast.
Yeah, it has shocked all of us. I think everybody in the lending world is kind of like, what's going on? 1 week there'll be this percentage, and then something changes, and the next week they're, half a point up, whatever it is. But I know, especially with COVID ending, everybody going back to work, the economy starting to work its way back up. When the economy is great, that's when the rates start going up. When everybody was unemployed, that's when they were so low, because everybody was buying all the stocks and bonds, which was driving the prices to be lower on the rates. So really, and then too, with the investor and those rates, because everybody's coming in here with cash and buying up all the properties, they've kind of been like, whoa, hold up, we still have a ton of first-time home buyers, people trying to buy as primaries, so the rates being higher on the investment and second home rates are to try to push people that are buying investment properties back a little bit. Because before, the second home interest rates were almost the same as primary residence.
Wow.
They are exactly the same as investment rates right now.
So, you know, Lindsay, I know that when the market crashed, what was it, 2008? And a lot of buyers were using variable interest rates and got really hurt. Now, I don't even think I've ever done a closing where I had, you know, a variable rate. They were all fixed 30-year rates, but I've seen them coming back. Have you?
A little bit. I normally didn't ever have anybody ask about them before, but I have had a lot more questions about, you know, what the rates were looking like for the adjustable arm rates, all of that. And I think it's more so investors is what I've been seeing, is because they just want a low rate to lock in at, because most of the time they're either going to pay it off or they're going to be selling it before the rate would go up again too. So I think they're just looking at different options to get the lowest that's out there, and because they're going to get rid of it.
Well, you know, the market, it has gone up so rapidly. Eventually there is going to be some adjustment in the market. The question is how much. I don't see it dipping like down like it did in 2008, but yeah. So if you are ready to buy and you're buying your home that you're going to be living in for a long time, eventually it will go back up. But if you're only looking for a short-term solution, that's something where you maybe have to be a little bit more careful.
Exactly, exactly. And two, with the inventory being low and people trying to buy, you know, my suggestion is if you can obtain the property and you're able to finance it and own it, you can always refinance. So, you know, I've been trying to have to calm people down with the rates and stuff too, because, you know, everybody gets freaked out about the payment and the rates, and it's all gonna change. Everything's always changing, always adjusting, going up, going down. They can always refinance. So that's been a big thing too, you know, to try to calm their nerves a little bit.
So if you have a home financing, let's say at 5%, and then the next month's at 6%, what does 1% really make in terms of their payments?
It's a pretty big payment. You know, you could pretty much qualify for a $600,000 loan at 2.5%, 3%. And then only qualify for like $450 at 5.5%.
Wow, that much.
So that may be a little bit dramatic, but it's still a pretty big difference on what you could qualify for before with the lower rates compared to now.
Mm-hmm. You know, I always do a market update every month, and I do a video and look at some data. And just in April 15th, we had 264 active listings, and that is just 30A West End and East End, and we are still having 243 active listings. The only difference where I see is the pending, the number of pendings. So last month we had about 350 pendings, and it went down to 249. But everything else, and the sold went down by almost 75 listings sold in the last 90 days. So that is just a little bit of a shift that I'm noticing, so it'll be interesting to see what next month brings.
Yeah, well, I do keep up with a website called MBS Highway that kind of gives the market update on, you know, the Fed rates and what they're doing, unemployment rates, a little bit of broad kind of information to tell you how everything is being affected and how the rates and what affects it and all of that. And they were saying that really year by year, it's only down by 5.9% this month based on last year, which is not that much. If you're looking at it when people are getting freaked out about, you know, the market crash again and all of that, it's really not as low as what people I think are starting to think what's gonna happen.
Well, the absorption rate, actually, I just looked at that this morning. From last year to this year, we are still down, meaning we are still absorbing new listings faster than we did last year at this time when it was COVID. But I think one of the big things that everyone agrees is that our area is really unique. And when you see some changes in some other areas, it doesn't necessarily mean that this area is also adapting to the change that much. I had a conversation with an agent in Orlando, and they are using a lot of Zillow leads, and they actually mentioned that the leads are down, meaning there's not as many people who are actually clicking on the ad. So I think, you know, it all depends where you are.
Yeah. Well, I know everybody is a little scared about the market crash and all of that, and in my opinion, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think there is going to be a little bit of a lower, you know, the values of the houses may start going a little bit lower, but especially in this area, I don't see that happening. We have 5 military bases within at least 2 hours, big tourist area. People are always buying investment properties, selling investment properties, vacationing here, and then end up moving here. So this area definitely doesn't get affected like the rest of the country does in these times.
That's a good point. Well, Lindsay, I think we need to maybe have another talk maybe in a month and see if we still think the same way or if it has changed. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're always here to help, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And like I always say, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, goodbye.